Hello and welcome. So the topic that today we are going to cover is IPv4 addressing in a nutshell. So if you are coming in a order and you have already gone through IPv4 header section, then this is going to be a very good because most of the parts we have already covered in that IPv4 header section. So this is going to be the continuous of that video. Okay, so let's head over to the next slide, which is talking about the agenda. And this is very simple. We will talk about the IPv4 subnetting from the perspective of troubleshoot, cybersecurity, and then in the end we have an assignment. The assignment is also very similar to the one that we have covered in a IPv4 header section. So let's head over to the next slide, which is talking about the IPv4, um, the size of IPv4 address. So you know IPv4 work at what OSA layer? Layer number 4, and this is logical addressing. Logical addressing. So every computer or every device is going to have one identification, and that identification is known as IPv4. IPv4. Why it is mentioned 4? Because this is the version and the new version is IPv6, and we are going to cover that as well. So just like every human being, every person has an ID card with some digits on it. This is used to identify that person uniquely. For example, this is the country. Let's say this is USA, and this second person is also have these ID numbers. These two ID numbers must be unique within same country. But if I'm talking about another country, let's say this is a Canada, and this guy, he is having ID card, and maybe this ID card could have the same identity that the ID card of the USA person has. But it is not going to make issue because his boundary is in Canada and this guy's boundary is in USA. On the same basis, in computer as well, we have the same kind of methodology or ideology. If you are in local area network in a LAN environment, whatever the computer you have over here, they are all going to use some kind of IPv4 addressing, and they have some IP addresses. Similarly, this is let's say XYZ organization, and this is job skill share or organization, and the employee over here, if they're all connected with the wires and they have IP addresses, maybe this is identical to this XYZ organization, all the IP addresses. But it's not gonna make any difference because they are not, this person is not going to communicate with this person. But if they have to, then there is going to be some problem. So that is why now he or she is going to go beyond his boundary. That is why this is where we have the routers come into play. So by the way, IPv4 address looks like this: 192.168.1.34. So if you will see IP address, you will see just beneath every IP address there will be a subnet mask as well. Subnet mask. And it will always be represented from 0 to 255 in between. Okay, like 255, 255, 255.0 most of the time. But if you have subnetted, then you are going to see different numbers over here. But this is the default subnet mask for the class C address. And RFC 1918 and these classes we are going to cover in the next slide. So by the way, IPv4 address is 32-bit or 4 byte. How you can remember this IPv4? So this is 4 byte. You can correlate with this one. And Every this byte, as you can see, these are 4 bytes. Every byte had 8 bits. So if you multiply 8 with the 4, it become how much? 32, which you can correlate with it. Okay, so 32 bit, 4 byte address. Then is it dotted decimal? Means if you are going to write any IP address, let's suppose 10 network, 10.1.1.15, you can see these are the dotted. So this is representation. It is going to segregate my 8-bit 1 byte portion. So that is why this is just the representation. But when you will hit MAC addresses or IPv6, you will see we are using these columns over there. So this is just the representation that you are going to segregate these values. It has network portion and host portion. As you can see, just by looking into subnet mask, wherever you see the subnet mask are common, 255, 255, 255.0, sorry, just 255, 255, and 255. This is going to be your network portion, your network portion. And where you are going to see 0, this is going to be your host portion. So what does it mean by the network portion or host portion? It means if you have one computer over here and one computer over here. Let's suppose this one is having 192.168.1.10 and the subnet mask is 255.255.0.0. Whereas this one is on 192.168.1.5 and the subnet mask is 255.0.0.0. It means the network identity for this PC is this network portion, and these two are related to the host portion. Similarly, this one is going to be the network portion, the remaining is going to be the host portion. So these two things are not common, so that is why they cannot speak, by the way. Okay, so these IP addressing should be identical in case if two computers want to communicate with each other. So in this case, for example, we have one computer over here, one PC over here, and it has, let's say, 192.168.1.1, and this one having 192.168.1.100, and the mask is 255.255.255.0. Similarly over here as well, 255.255.255.0. Now you can see subnet mask. This is network portion, this is host portion, this is network portion, this is host portion. So these is identical. Both will be able to communicate. Now you might be wondering, let's suppose this computer is having 192, this computer is having 192.168.1.1 with three portion of 255 and one portion of 0. So let's suppose if this is 10.1.1.1 and it has also the same subnet mask 255.255.255.0. So now you can see the subnet mask is same, but the class is different. So this is also another issue. You cannot communicate. Okay, so this is called network and host portion. Address values between 0 to 255. So whatever you are going to write from here is going to be 0 to all the way to 255 in between. Okay, you cannot type like here 256. You are going to get error, or even here as well. Binary number system, these are all binary number system. Binary means 10101010, and I'm going to explain that as well. It has network address, broadcast address, and host address, which I'm going to cover later on. So let's start with the next slide, which is talking about the video that I have added from the CCNA class. It is talking about the IPv4 subnetting in detail. Okay. So I'm going to uh, I'm going to end this video over here. Meanwhile, you go over this video. First watch this video and then you can come to the next video. So I have just added, as you can see from the CCNA section, I just added this video only. But we have in the CCNA, we have exercise number 1, exercise number 2, and exercise number 3. Okay. If you are interested, you need to contact JSS and they will guide you about these videos. Okay. So I'm gonna see you in the next video.